That's what the white before to wipe the microphone back too, but everyone has a mask on, so probably just to wipe
Right,
down.
we'll just
that
wipe it down between each time, or I will just put it in the stand. We'll just ask people to stand. It's not that button there. Test. They're not from.
Well, you probably didn't turn it on, do we know how?
Where it is, what do you got? Turn the system on.
I think it's over there. Oh, maybe Rachel knows. Hold on, I got Rachel. It looks like there's a person with their mask down.
Huh?
It looks like there's a person with their mask down. Thank you.
We have sound.
Yay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on a Saturday. I know this is a whole different experience for all of us, but it feels great to be in person with people. So we're attempting our first hybrid town meeting tonight. So anyone on Zoom, welcome for joining us too. And please be patient. We are all trying to figure this out at the same time. And thank you for joining us on a Saturday. The reopen committee for the school, when I asked to use the school for the meeting, preferred us to have it on a Saturday morning. So that's why it's Saturday morning.
And that's so they have time to clean after this meeting before the kids come back.
Yeah. So the time is 10:05 and I open up this, we're going to start with a public hearing. So if we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance, that would be great. So please stand. There's a
And
flag.
flag
on
is
the
over there.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so the public hearing is being held about an ordinance. Okay, the public safety volunteer reimbursement ordinance. And also an ordinance to amend a section of the public safety volunteer reimbursement ordinance. So these ordinances are currently in place. I believe this one has been updated in the past as well too. The purpose of these ordinances is to provide the Voluntown Fire Department with how they do the volunteer reimbursement stipend. So it's this time of year, it's time to update how the stipend is being done. So whenever the stipends are updated, it has to come to a town meeting. So it's a process to get the business done that needs to be done. Also, when I sent this information to the town attorney about the ordinance renewal, he was questioning why we had the ordinance in the first place. The volunteer fire department is its own IRS EIN organization. The stipend payments are it's their business. The town approves that every year with the budget. If that stipend changes, it'll be reflected in the budget. So that's how the town would vote on it. So it's not, the town will still have input on that. It'll just be at budget time and not through the ordinance. So that's why we want to remove it. Are there any questions? Were there any questions online? All right.
So Tracy, if you just speak a little bit louder, because we need this microphone to pick up the speakers in the ceiling. So if you're just very loud.
Are they going to get feedback?
They won't.
All right. Did they not hear any of that? Oh, on Zoom.
Which I can see if the people who are online in Zoom can hear. I'm going to call someone who I know is. Can you hear? Okay, sounds good. Okay, I just got confirmation from someone who's on the Zoom right now that they can clearly hear everything, Tracy.
Okay. All right, so everyone could hear that. Did we have any questions? Any on Zoom or on Zoom, there's a hand raise feature on the bottom. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. So Julie's checking to see if there's any hands up, and if we don't have any questions, we'll move on to the chat. Oh, Jack.
Jack, we do because we want the people on Zoom to be able to hear you too.
My question is, how is this going to affect our taxes?
I'll let Tim answer that because she was just explaining the budget thing. Hey, Rose, it'll be reflected in the line item.
Hi, Tim Adams, President of the Fire Department. So expected amount of that the council decided every year to help reimburse volunteers. We are changing the amount. Doing this, we're going to take that segment. The fire department now is going to start issuing place the calendar. So we went back and looked and saw trying to come up with the best effective way of doing it. Users. Town is issuing 1099. Starting the volunteers with tax season. So we worked with the town and we're going to either have the town issue that we volunteer. But when we talked to the town's attorney, the town found out that was their account, five, they're losing the advantage of having a small business. What we've done is we have an EIN with that state. We are actually going to use the same budget line item. We're going to actually pay out the stipend. Like Social Security, Medicare portion. That was the whole intent. That was the other issue.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay.
Yes, everyone. Speaker. And Julie, can you unmute the individual? It's not that mic, it's your speaker here. There we go. And I'll back up if they couldn't.
I see
Oh,
that.
there's a chat, okay.
Okay, I think you're free to talk, Lillian.
Thanks. The only thing I wanted to say is the last comment that was made by the administrator, I believe, we couldn't hear. So when you were answering Jack's question, we couldn't hear that.
Okay. I can't remember what question Jack asked.
Is it gonna work?
Oh, if it's gonna affect the budget.
We want to go back to Ken?
Okay. Yeah, come over here. All right.
And just speak loudly into that microphone.
We'll try again. So the budget line item that's in the town budget today is the same line item. We're going to leave it at, it's the same amount. The difference is instead of the town issuing the payment for reimbursement to the volunteers, the fire department's going to do it. When the town does it, they issue 1099s to the volunteers, and that when tax season comes around, it's not a great position to be in at the end of the year, getting something on a 1099 that has no tax withholding from it. So we went to work with the town to see if we could get issued W-2s to all the volunteers for the stipend. And we came to the conclusion after speaking to their labor attorney and the tax auditor that it would put the town in a bad position because they would have to take on those people as employees. It would put them above the maximum allowed for a small business town. So we decided to do is the fire department has its own EIN. We are registered with the federal government. The town, instead of paying it out, is going to pass those funds over to the fire department. And we're going to issue the payments in W-2s and withhold the Social Security and Medicare tax for the volunteers.
Thank you. All right, so are there any more questions for the public hearing on those ordinances? No, not in here. Are there any on Zoom? Nope. Okay, then that will conclude the public meeting, and now we'll move on to the special town meeting. All right. Yep, okay, I'll start with the reading of the call.
Tracy?
Come back, you gotta be on camera. They can hear you, but if you're not on camera, it's just a disembodied voice.
Okay.
to everyone else here.
Sorry. All right, so I'm gonna read the call of the meeting. Notice of a special town meeting, March 20th, 2021, Town of Allentown. The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Allentown, Connecticut hereby warns and gives notice that a special town meeting of the town will be held at the Voluntown Elementary School, 195 Main Street, Voluntown, Connecticut, on Saturday, March 20th, 2021 at 10 a.m. or immediately following the public hearing scheduled for this time. This meeting is a hybrid meeting and can also be participated in via Zoom. Electors and all others eligible to vote in town meetings in the town of Allentown must register with their legal name that appears on the tax list or their voter registration card through the following link. All users will be approved before being allowed into the meeting. Participants on Zoom will be voting via poll. 1, to consider and act on adoption of the following proposed ordinances. A, an ordinance authorizing the appointment of the town clerk. 2, to consider and act on repealing the following ordinances. The Public Safety Volunteer Reimbursement Ordinance, and B, an ordinance to amend Section 5 of the Public Safety Volunteer Reimbursement Ordinance. Copies of each ordinance listed above are available at the offices of the town clerk and on the Town of Allentown website, signed and dated this 9th day of March, 2021 at Voluntown, Connecticut.
Who will be moderator? Do you have any nominations? Moderator? Jack? Any other nominations? All in favor of Tracy being the moderator?
Aye.
What?
Yeah, there was.
Ron did the second.
Okay, so that's all set.
Okay, yep,
Did we do any opposed?
thank you.
Want to dispense the read?
Yeah.
Did we do any opposed?
Oh, any opposed? Sorry. Okay. All right, so I'd like to ask for a motion to dispense with the reading of the call again. Yep. The motion made and seconded by Judith. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Hearing none, we'll dispense with the reading again. All right, so item 1 is to consider and act on the adoption of the following proposed ordinances. An ordinance authorizing the appointment of the town clerk. Do I have a motion to accept item 1? Judith has the motion. Is there a second? Okay, second. All right, so the item's open for discussion. We had the public hearing for this ordinance. This ordinance is being recommended by the Board of Selectmen to change the town clerk to an appointed position because of the increasing responsibilities and of the position and the training required for it. We feel it's the best interest of the town to have that changed to an appointed position. This would make it a hired position like other town offices that have been turned into a hired position, just to keep the consistency in the town hall and with the training, and to have it as as a job. And the ordinance has it in a way that that position cannot change by the whim of the Board of Selectmen every election. The only way the person can be removed from the job is if they are not for due cause, which is they're not doing their job. So, I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I'd like to, can I add just a couple of comments on that? Thank you. So looking around the state over the past 15 years, in 2006, out of 169 towns in Connecticut, 34 of them, town clerks, were appointed in 2006. So that's 20% of towns. The next year where I could find data was 2017. By that point, we had gone from 34 to 48. So 48 out of 169 towns had appointed their town clerk. That put us at 28%. 2020, we were up to 54. So this is an increasing trend statewide, going from 34 in 2006 to 54 in 2020. That's a 60% increase in the number of towns that are appointing their town clerk. And the reason why these towns are doing it is because of what Tracy just said, because of the training requirements, the certification requirements. There's actually a Connecticut general statute that says to be a certified town clerk, you have to have a minimum of 2 years experience in a municipal clerk position. So the training, the certification by the state, all of these things together, that's why we want to do this.
Does anyone have any questions or, yes? If you could come up here, please, so we can have it picked up in both microphones.
Just do the mic stand so we minimize how many people are.
Hello, Debbie Maynard. I got two things to tell you. One, the ordinance that has come into place about keeping a town clerk, whether you want to or not, that you would only get rid of the town clerk if something happened that she wasn't doing correctly. According to the Department of Labor, that ordinance cannot be filled the way you have it written, because you, or the townspeople, do not have the right to demand a position to be in an ordinance and not revoke for a position or his position. That's number one. You can check that with the Department of Labor. So that's an issue that I have with the ordinance and leading people in the wrong direction. Secondly, the only other thing is, I think with what we've seen going on in Washington, D.C. about people not being able to vote, and it's come down to Hartford as well, that I really believe the people years ago that fought for us and women be able to vote, it kind of disturbs me a little that it seems like everybody keeps taking something away slowly. As far as who you have for a town clerk, I don't really care as long as they do the job, but I really think this vote is one more thing that's being taken away from us. There's so much being taken away. I just have, what's going on, it's just horrible. And again, females, it took people so long to fight for us to be able to vote. I think everyone should think about that. Our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our kids went at one point to war for things. And people, it was really hard for us women to be able to vote. And now we can, and I do vote. And I vote ever since I turned 18. And I just think people should think about that. Again, not who's doing anything or who the position is or you crazy. I just have that thing, and that's why I'm here today. I don't like not being able to vote. Thank you.
And Debbie, you were nice and loud. I'm going to ask everyone to try and be as loud as they can on that microphone.
Hi, yes, David Evening. I live on Brown Road. I agree wholeheartedly about our right to vote taken away. One question I have for the board, though, is if we appoint this position, is that person now eligible to become a union member for the town of Allentown?
The way that they wouldn't change the way the position is right now, and it's not. It would be the same hours, same everything, or less, depending on the budget. Based on what it's here.
Right,
It's
but
not right now, so.
so she cannot, the person who takes
It's
the,
not a full-time job.
it's not a full-time job?
Hold on, we're gonna have to run the mic around to try and make sure that.
No, you have right now are.
Reason I asked that was I was just wondering if make it harder for the selectmen to get rid of a union employee, because if they petition and then become in the union, it's gonna make it very difficult to get rid of them if something goes wrong. Whereas if you vote the person in every 2 years, don't like what they're doing, out they go. That's all I have. Yep.
I just wanted to respond to some of the other questions. As far as the ordinance and labor violation, we sent it to the attorney, it was reviewed and approved. Also, we already have ordinances in place for when the tax collector became appointed. The ordinance isn't a labor violation, the attorney reviewed it all. As far as the voting goes, one thing I would like to, that we went through this election year, being a presidential election during COVID, is the absentee ballots. If everyone remembers during the election, how much pressure there was on the accuracy of those absentee ballots. The absentee ballots go through the town clerk. And that is an elected position, touching all of those ballots, verifying those ballots. And I can tell you, our town clerk this election year was very worried that if there was any discrepancy at all, it would come back to her personally. Because unlike the registrars, who have 2 elected positions, one from each party, to verify the votes, there is no accountability with the tax clerk. And that raised the question, with the town clerk. And the state's pushing for more absentee ballot access, and to put one person affiliated to a political party in that position was very stressful for this past election. And to have that happen every election it's, as the board of selectmen, that just seemed like a liability for the town that we didn't need. So, does anyone else have any questions? Judith, I saw your hand first.
Judith Allen on Laurel Drive. I would like to speak in favor of the ordinance. I certainly agree with the issue
Dan Florence.
of voting. And
Join the meeting.
best of all possible worlds, I would say, yes, let's put a position where we could vote. Unfortunately, our town is very small. Our political parties are the people in general to nominate the town clerk. We have a great number of unaffiliated voters, and I worry that the size of the pool in our town is so small that for the political parties to be able to nominate qualified people every 2 years for the position, I think maybe a real challenge. So I would prefer, from that standpoint, to have the selectmen in the position of being able to hire a qualified person. And I do know that they will be giving people who live in this town of all an added, they will certainly consider long-term residents first. So those are my reasons for supporting the ordinance.
Anyone else? Stacy is welcome.
I'm even in Brown Road. I'm moving in service.
Just hold the microphone a little bit closer, and I'm going to see if I can move this closer to you as well. Okay, go ahead.
As the town clerk ordinance, I think it's illegal to take a vote on this today. Because there was nothing mentioned in an orange bulletin legal notice about the town clerk. I mean, a fire company ordinance. It's supposed to be circulated supposed to be in the newspaper, most circulated in the town. I would say, if you take a vote, this would be illegal. Thank you.
Yep.
The field notice in the paper was the town attorney. He said it wasn't ideal the way that it was put in. This was yesterday when I talked to him, but he said it is what it is and it's still valid. So if we're good, it's good. If anyone has any problems with it after, then it's kind of a formal thing. Question that we not have it, but according to the town attorney, it is what it is and it's fine. We have information out there, it has a link to the website, if you have questions, this is from last Thursday. They have plenty of time to go to the website and ask questions, so the information. Does anyone else have any questions?
Just to address what was said about 54 towns. I don't have those numbers, that's that we follow that. Great those numbers to show that the trends are changing the way towns look at the position. And of the 54 towns, I can't name all 54, I don't have that data with me right now, but none of them are big cities. These are all small towns that are already funded. So from their point of view, they are more like us than the cities are. So we're a trend that is obvious across the state over the past 15 years, that towns like us see that this is a necessary thing to make town work for home.
Are there any questions, anyone?
Good morning. My name is Mary Kennedy, and I live on Brown Road in this lovely town. And I would like to state the fact that once we use our white shoes, we lose our freedom. Please do not let that happen to us. We've always lost other offices in the town, and it's It's going back a while. So let's just be, it's not broken. We don't have to fix it. We have wonderful people in this town who do wonderful things and do a fine job. So let's keep it here and let's keep our freedom free. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
Go ahead, let her, go ahead. Let her.
Okay, thank you, John. I think over here, ordinance, it's like, all.
I'll respond to the board and correct me if I speak out of turn here, but Ron, Tracy, and I are all agreed on moving forward with the appointing council. But I'll come back to that in a second.
Move to close the voting, the questions, and move to vote.
I'll second that.
There's a motion now to close the discussion and a second.
Looks like we're out in and out already.
Tracy, just give me a 1, 2, 3 test and see what they're saying.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We have a motion on the table to close discussion and second. So all in favor of closing discussion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, discussion is closed. All right, so we're gonna vote on item 1. Everyone has a ballot. Except on Zoom, we don't have a poll, so those who are in the poll. I guess just want to, everybody want to do. All right, so I need a motion to vote by paper ballot. Okay.
Second.
So that made a motion and, second, David. So the ballot votes, when you vote, you'll grab the ballot for the next one. So nobody without grabbing the ballot.
Vote on the motion.
Oh, vote on the motion, sorry. All right, so the motion to be seconded, vote by paper ballot, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, all right. On this side, we are approved 2020 for thank you. Yes means that you're in favor of the ordinance, no means that you're not. We're still doing it down there.
Hang in there.
So we have the totals. Comparing the totals, first by the voting here, and then by the voting online, and then the total. So in person, there were So in person, there was 24 in favor, 14 opposed. Online, there were 16 in favor and 0 opposed. So the total is 40 in favor and 14 opposed, the ordinance passes. So now we're going to move on to the next item, which is consider and act on the repealing of following ordinance. I don't know that we quickly and separately or, yeah, so we can both, can I have motion to put them together? It's the public safety volunteer reimbursement ordinance and then an ordinance to amend section of the public safety volunteer reimbursement ordinance. So I have a motion to accept the two ordinances in writing. That's the motion for discussion.
No.
Yes, the motion for discussion.
Second.
And that's I get to do We're talking about the ordinance for reimbursement. So we're discussing it. If anyone has any questions or comments about it, we'll do that now. I'm Jim over here, and if not, then there's no one.
So let's back up. Yeah.
Well, there's several ways to, so they kind of work that anyway. But we can vote, we can make them with the vote on it together. We're going on to happening, everyone that
Vote on the motion. Vote on the motion.
You gotta vote on whether you want to.
Yeah, motion.
Close this one.
All in favor, discussion.
Aye.
Okay, so now I would ask for a vote on item 2. So, the item 2 is consider and act on the report of following ordinance. So I guess if you have a motion that we're going to do together, but they are.
Tracy, speak up.
On motion to vote on the repealing both ordinances, we should have a motion to vote on them together.
Can you just read multiple terms?
They are the order, the public safety volunteer reimbursement ordinance, and ordinance to amend section 5 of the public safety volunteer reimbursement ordinance. All right, so the motion's been made to vote on them together. Is there a second? David, seconded. All right. So do I have a motion to vote via paper ballot? A motion to vote via paper ballot. David, and seconded. Okay, so we've asked to vote, we've approved it. All in favor of voting paper ballot? Aye. Opposed? All right. So same voting as before. Did I get everything? Okay. I know specifically not to vote.
Video flip? Video turned sideways. I don't know why. Oh, it's the poll. The poll does that. So when you send out a poll, we'll move the video feed. I need to. Is that back? Tracy, from your laptop? Is this back?
Yes.
Got you guys.
All right, has everyone voted in person? No. Sorry.
Watch
Okay.
the wire. He is.
All right, do we have the volunteers to count the ballots? Do you guys want to do it again? Okay. My favorite one. Thank you. For our friends on Zoom, please make sure that you voted.
No. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. It was the- That would be the best case.
For Zoom friends, please make sure you voted. The poll's gonna close.
I didn't get a chance to email, but I did that. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
The Zoom poll is now closed.
It is.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm gonna read the totals like I did before, for the in-person first, and then the Zoom, and then the total. So for the in-person, we had 33 in favor, 1 opposed. For the Zoom, we had 9 in favor, 1 opposed. So that's a total of 42 in favor, 2 opposed, so the ordinances are repealed. All right, so that concludes our business for today. Thank you for everyone to come. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Jack? And seconded. Thank you so much for coming today and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, everyone. And Zoom, we had our challenges, but I think we pulled off our first hybrid town meeting moderately successfully.